The academy courtyard buzzed with laughter. Cadets in crisp silver uniforms gathered under the twin suns of Ultra Prime, their voices echoing across the marble square. The laughter wasn't joyful. It was sharp, cruel, and aimed at one person. At the center stood Lyra, the only Varnian student accepted into the human-led Interstellar Academy. Her skin, once a smooth shade of amethyst, was marred by silvery burn scars that traced across her cheek and neck. The scars told a story she never shared, though whispers filled the gaps. She'd survived a ship explosion. She'd been born defective. She wasn't really one of them. Whatever the reason, her classmates didn't care. Maybe if she stands near the reactor long enough, she'll melt back into shape, one boy sneered. Lyra tightened her grip on her satchel and tried to walk past, her eyes focused on the ground. Every step was deliberate, practiced. She had trained herself to move as if the words couldn't touch her, but inside, each one landed like shrapnel. Then came the final push. A cadet named Tren, the loudest of them all, stepped in front of her, blocking her path.
Hey, alien.
Why do you even cover your face? We already know what's underneath. He reached for her hood. Don't, she said quietly. But Tren smirked and pulled it back anyway. The sunlight caught the ridges of her scars, making them glisten. The group snickered. Someone took a photo. Someone else whispered, "Ugly." That was when Eli Ward spoke. From the edge of the crowd, a tall human cadet with messy brown hair and a repaired prosthetic arm stepped forward. His voice was calm, but his eyes burned. Enough. Tren laughed. Oh, look, the charity case wants to play hero again.
Eli didn't respond.
He walked up to Lyra slowly so everyone could see. Her hands trembled. She looked at him, expecting mockery, expecting pity. Instead, he gently lifted her chin and pressed his lips against the scar running down her cheek. The courtyard went silent. Beginning. That moment became legend among the cadets, though no one spoke of it aloud. Tren didn't laugh again after that day. No one did. But Lyra's life didn't suddenly become easier. People stopped mocking her to her face, but the whispers grew quieter, sharper, more poisonous. Eli didn't seem to care. He and Lyra began studying together after class, first in the mess hall, then in the archives, then on the observation deck overlooking the city of Orleans. Lyra was cautious at first. You didn't have to do that, she told him one evening as they watched the crimson clouds drift below the academy's floating platforms. I know, he said simply, but I wanted to. Why? Eli shrugged. Because you didn't deserve it. I know what it's like to be stared at. He lifted his prosthetic arm, the metal joints gleaming. People act like scars mean you're broken, but they're just proof you survived. Lyra said nothing for a long moment. Then she smiled, a real one this time. Humans have strange ways of making sense. He grinned. You'll get used to it. From then on, they were inseparable. Middle. The Interstellar Academy trained peacekeepers, humans, Varnians, and a dozen other species sworn to maintain fragile alliances across the stars. But peace had enemies. Beyond the frontier, an extremist human faction called the Iron Pact rose again, believing humanity should never have allied with xenoparasites. When rumors spread that the Pact had infiltrated the Academy, fear followed. Security tightened. Suspicion poisoned the air. One night, alarms blared across the dormitory decks. The message flashed on every screen. Terrorist breach, Section C. Evacuate immediately. Eli and Lyra ran toward the lower levels instead of away. The corridors shuddered as explosions echoed below. They're targeting the power core. Eli shouted over the noise. They rounded a corner and froze. Tren, the same cadet who tormented Lyra months ago, stood in the corridor with a detonator clutched in his hand and a terrified look in his eyes. Behind him, 3 armored intruders lay unconscious, Lyra's handiwork, judging by the scorch marks. "I didn't mean for it to go this far," Tren stammered. "They said it was just a protest. I didn't know they'd actually." "Give me the detonator," Eli said quietly. Tren's hand shook. "I can't. They'll kill me." Lyra stepped forward. "They'll kill everyone if you don't." Her voice, calm and steady, broke something in him. He dropped the device into her hand and sank to the floor, sobbing. But before she could deactivate it, the remaining intruder, half conscious, fired. The shot grazed Lyra's shoulder. She gasped, stumbling. Eli lunged forward, shielding her as plasma fire scorched his arm. He gritted his teeth and slammed his prosthetic into the wall, overriding the detonator's power conduit. Sparks exploded. The screen went dark. Then silence. The threat was over. But as med drones arrived and security teams swarmed in, the sight that remained burned into everyone's memory. Lyra, bleeding, holding Eli's burned arm, refusing to let go. Turning point. Days later, as the Academy repaired its halls and purged the last of the iron-packed sympathizers, word of what happened spread across Ultra Prime. For the first time, the name Lyra Veshran wasn't followed by whispers of shame. It was spoken with respect. When the council summoned her to receive commendation, she didn't want to go. "They'll only see the scars," she said softly. Eli smiled faintly. "Then let them. They'll finally understand what strength looks like." She went, standing in the grand atrium before hundreds of cadets and officers. Lyra listened as the council speaker retold what she had done. She had saved thousands of lives. She had faced down hate with courage. When the applause began, it was hesitant at first, then thunderous. Lyra searched the crowd until she found Eli in the back, smiling, his prosthetic arm now wrapped in bandages. She nodded once, and he nodded back. But peace didn't last long. The final battle. Weeks later, while returning from a training mission, their shuttle intercepted a distress signal near the abandoned orbital station known as Vire's Halo. The signal carried a familiar encryption, one used by the Iron Pact. Command ordered them to investigate. As the shuttle docked, the interior lights flickered weakly. The air smelled of smoke and metal. The Pact survivors had turned the station into a last refuge and rigged it to explode if discovered. While the team secured the control center, Eli and Lyra stayed behind to disarm the self-destruct sequence. The console flickered in alien script and human code intertwined. Lyra frowned. "This is hybrid tech. It's Varnian designed. They must have stolen it from one of our ships." "That's why you're the genius," Eli said, forcing a grin. "Just tell me where to shoot if it goes bad." "It always goes bad," she murmured.
And it did.
The system locked them out with a countdown, 30 seconds. Lyra worked furiously, typing commands in 2 languages at once. Eli watched the timer fall. 10 seconds. Almost done. 5. The console sparked, throwing her backward. Eli caught her. The screen flashed. Manual override required. "Go," she shouted. "You'll never reach it in time." Eli looked at her, then at the hatch leading to the reactor shaft. "We've been through this before," he said softly. "I don't run." He dove through the hatch. She screamed after him.